Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Song of the Sea. And this movie came out in 2014, and it's directed by Tom Moore. And I'm not really familiar with him. And this was my first experience, I believe, with any of his movies. And this movie was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film at the Oscars in 2015. I will say, out of the ones that I have seen, which is three of them, there's two that I haven't seen. The one that actually won was Big Hero 6, and the other one is The Tale of the Princess Kagaya. I don't know how you pronounce that, but out of the ones that I have seen, this, Box Trolls, and How to Train Your Dragon 2, this one's my favorite for sure, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and loved the animation style. It was very unique and something that I just really love about, just something nice to see. Like, I like seeing it, and it's different from what I'm used to seeing. And also, it feels like it's taking advantage with the fact that it's animated, like showing you some really beautiful visuals, or can show you some crazy visuals, or just anything you want. If you can animate it, then show it. And that's what they do here. And there's some really gorgeous moments in this film that I really loved. And I thought the voice acting was pretty great, and the characters were very likable, and the story is pretty simple, and sure, there are parts where it doesn't fully work for me, but I do feel as though the parts that do work well enough to where it makes the whole experience worth it for me, and I do like the tone of the movie, and also the runtime is perfect for what it needs to be. Hour and a half, doesn't waste your time, really, and it's just a really enjoyable film for me overall, and there are parts of it where it did hit the emotions that it was trying to, and there are some moments in this movie that reminded me of some of Miyazaki films. Like, in the third act, there was a moment that reminded me of the ending to My Neighbor Totoro, or at least like something that happened in the third act of My Neighbor Totoro. And in ways, I was also reminded of The Boy and the Heron, and I think this movie is much better than The Boy and the Heron, and to a very certain extent, it's kind of what I would have rather had The Boy and the Heron be, honestly. It was just handling things so much better, and made it much more interesting to watch, and just something really enjoyable for me. And you might think that there are going to be moments where there's going to be some forced drama, but luckily, in my opinion, that never happened here, and it was always something that just felt like a natural part of the story, and it just didn't feel as though it was wasting time for me. And there were some subplots that kind of dragged this movie down a little bit. They didn't last too long, but they were still in the movie, and I wasn't really for them all that much. And there's some 3D animation in this movie, and it wasn't blended all too well with the 2D animation, sadly. And whenever that happened, it was kind of distracting for me. And there were points in the second half of the movie where I was kind of confused as to why characters were doing what they were doing. But fortunately, that didn't last too long, and the parts where I was feeling as, okay, this is kind of dragging this down a little bit because characters are doing things that I just don't agree with, or I just don't understand. They're kind of just spread out and not in the movie all too much. But aside from that, I wasn't really bothered by much in this movie. I thought that the grandmother character was going to be annoying, but fortunately that doesn't happen, and the movie does a good job at making you understand these characters. And it doesn't pull any cheap tricks that you might expect. Everything that it's doing just feels like it's a part of the story, and it might sound like I'm constantly trying to dodge talking about very specific moments, and that's because I don't really want to spoil anything. I think that you'll just be able to enjoy this movie as much as possible if I just don't really say too much about what it's about, because I feel as though that'll help out your experience a bit more. Not that there's too much to spoil plot-wise, because it's a pretty simple story. Not that it needs to be complicated, but there isn't really too much to say about it, other than just moments that either make sense to you or don't make sense, or work for you or don't work for you. It's just one of those movies, if that makes sense, and I thought it was good. So definitely check this movie out whenever you get the chance. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Song of the Sea a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Song of the Sea, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.